Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? Hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about a hot topic as room selections are coming out, which is how to find great roommates. And this is really important because most of the time in college, you'll have at least one or two roommates living with you, and they're going to be with you for so many hours a day. And you want to make sure you guys have a good vibe going on and you get along with each other. So it's important to, have a process for selecting a great roommate for yourself. And today I want to just give you some tips that will hopefully be helpful for your journey. All right, without further ado, let's get into the video. One thing before I begin, please support my channel as you've been doing before. Drop a like, drop a subscribe, and leave a comment on what you think about these videos and what else you want to know about college. I'm more than happy to hear from you, and I really want to start a conversation and make whatever videos will help you. So, all right, let's get into it. All right, so as we begin, the biggest question is, why do you even need a roommate? Well, living in college is probably different than living at home. It's likely that you had your own room back at home, but in college, typically, you'll live in a double or a triple room, which means you'll have one or two roommates. And typically, the option is either you choose your roommate. So once you select what kind of housing you would like, you will write down the name of your roommate that you selected, or you will be placed with a random roommate. Those are your options, and if you have someone in mind already that you want to live with, that raises your chances of kind of getting along with that person. If it's random, then it's really a roll of the dice. So that's why you might want to look for a roommate before you move in. All right, the next most popular question is probably, when do I even need to have a roommate selected? And this can vary by college, but typically when the housing information comes out, I know for UCSD in my case, whenever the housing contract comes out, after that you'll have some time, and they will send you the options for your room, which is an apartment, a residential hall, and a triple or a single, which in this case is going to be a double or a single for this year of COVID. So at that same time that you choose your room type, you will typically request your roommate or elect to have a random roommate placed in your room. All right, so if you're not really the type to roll the dice and get your random roommates, then you might want to look for one. And some of the best ways to look for them are on social media. I mean, this is where you get the first chance to connect with your peers from your class. For instance, I found some of the girls that I lived with through Instagram. Typically every year there's an Instagram page for every incoming class to the university. You can just look up the name of your university and the year that you are going to be graduating. So for instance, for this year, this will be the class of 2024. You can put like UCSD 2024, and typically you'll find the right page and a bunch of freshmen will be following it. So here's how the page typically works. There will be an account with all the students following it, and one person will be running it. You will typically DM the account directly and send them a little information about yourself. What your name is, what your major is. If you have a college system like UCSD, you'll say where you're living and just some information about you. What do you like to do? Do you play any sports? Do you go to sleep early or late? Some of that kind of stuff. Then they will post you on the account with some of your pictures and your description, and then people will be able to contact you by direct message. They can follow you or leave something in the comments, and you'll meet some friends and maybe a potential roommate. The other big social media platform that typically is a good resource is Facebook. So actually a lot of colleges have their information on Facebook, and this starts with your incoming class page, and then you'll see a lot of Facebook pages for clubs, organizations, and like career centers and stuff like that. So same process as the Instagram page. You can just look up the name of your university and the class that you will be graduating with and just join that group. Afterwards, you can post your own information to the group and people will go through, read about it, and if they think that you'll vibe, then they'll give you a little slide in the DMs, Another option that some people choose is to have roommates that they went to school with. Some people will be very lucky and have their best friends or some pretty good acquaintances from their high school coming to college with them as well. This is totally up to you, but honestly, from everyone I've spoken with, this is not the recommended path to go down. Sometimes you and your best friend can get along great, but you won't live together great, if that makes sense. You might have different ways of living, different styles of living, and spending that much time together, you might start getting on each other's nerves. You know, completely up to you, definitely value the situation, but from what I've heard, it's not very recommended to live with your best friends from high school. Another reason is that you want to go to college in order to meet new people. You want to expand your horizons, you want to meet a bunch of new friends. If you're living with your high school friends or keeping that same group from high school, you're not going to really get the chance to expand. You'll just be comfortable, you know? So you want to give yourself the opportunity to actually go out there and meet new people and get into the world. All right, so you went on the pages, you posted your information, you scrolled through other profiles, and you found some people you like. What's next, right? Well, the first thing you should do is probably message them. So slide in their DMs and let them know what your name is and why you think you would get along. You know, do you have some shared hobbies? Do you have the same major? Are you from the same city or close by? And, you know, just start a conversation. I would highly recommend just talking about the things that you might have in common or why you think you kind of have the same vibe. And if you have an easygoing conversation, I know it'll be awkward at first, inevitably, but once you start talking, if it's comfortable and free-flowing, that's a pretty good sign. If you have the opportunity, I would even recommend setting up a Zoom or a FaceTime call with them. I know it's awkward talking to people for the first time, but honestly, that will give you a really good indication of what the person is really like in real life. So if you're able to set up a little call just for 30 minutes and talk, you know, about your likes and your hobbies, what you're looking forward to in college, stuff like that. And it'll give you a really good insight into kind of the personality of your potential roommate. All right, so you started talking, and this person could potentially be your roommate. So there are some important questions you should probably ask them. Hey guys, so this is Editing Elise checking in with you. Sorry to pause that video, but as I was editing, we're about to get into the questions part for the roommate search of this video, and I realized that it was all very vocal and I didn't include like a visual part of the questions. So I wanted to include the final list, which might be helpful to like screenshot or go back to specifically just all the written questions if you want to ask those later. So I'm going to pop that on the screen now. And I'll just leave it here and I'll leave a timestamp for it. And I hope it helps you guys out if you're more visual so you know what I'm talking about. All right, back to the video. Here's the first one. Ask them what their sleep schedule is like. People are so different. Some people go to sleep at 9 p.m. every night and some people stay up until 3. That's an important question to ask your roommate. What if you want to get to sleep but they're not done studying until 6 hours later, you know? Make sure you have an honest conversation about your expectations for when you'll be sleeping and when you'll be studying as well. On the topic of when you'll be studying, ask them their preferences for studying. Do they study in their room? Are they planning to go to libraries when they study? Do they study alone? Do they study with music? Or will they bring a bunch of people over to your place to study with? And are you okay with that? Just ask those questions and see what their style is like and can you work around it? Along with the education aspect, ask them what their school schedule is like. Are they planning to take a bunch of classes or are they going to kind of take it easy and try just a few at a time? You want to know this in order to know, do they have a bunch of 8 a.m.s and you're going to have to hear them waking up every morning and getting ready for them? Or do they want to get up later in the day and not be bothered until their like noon class? That's an important thing to talk about. Another thing that might be important is to ask if this person is an introvert, an extrovert, or an ambivert. What this means is an introvert will get their energy and recharging their social battery by spending time alone, so they really, really value their alone time. An extrovert, on the other hand, will recharge and get their energy back by spending it in group time, so they're less likely to want to spend that time alone, and they're more likely to have people over, have big groups, and lots of conversations. Both types of people can get along, even if you're somewhere in the middle, but it's something to talk about. If you're roommates and you have very different philosophies for how you recharge and have that time for yourself or with other people, then maybe think about how you would balance those two schedules. On that note, what are your policies for having people over? Do you like guests at any time or do you want to be warned in advance? How do you feel about overnight guests? Because that could be definitely a possibility in college. It's something to discuss, just so you don't have those awkward moments where you're like, oh, I don't want to say anything and, you know, be a bad roommate, but it still bothers you. don't leave those questions unanswered until you're actually in the moment. If you can, ask them in advance and you'll know straight up what their opinion is. Another thing that you can ask is what they plan to get involved with. Was this person previously in a sport or a club, something they're really passionate about and want to keep doing? Do they want to get involved with big organizations, maybe Greek life? And what do you want to get involved with? Do you have some interests, or are your schedules going to be super different? For instance, there are a lot of ways to get involved with sport activities, but some of these sport activities will start very early in the morning. Are you okay with your roommate getting up early in the morning or coming home late at night after those activities? Or are you going to be that roommate who's going to be up early, and is that okay with your potential roommate? Just ask those questions so you can get a general feel for how busy they'll be and how often they'll be in the room and out of the room. That's pretty much it for my list of questions. You can have other ones. I would definitely ask about their personality type, what they like to do, and what some of their hobbies and maybe like decor options are, what music they listen to. Just get to know the person, you know? You can definitely do this more when you move in, but just feel out their vibes, feel out if you would get along, stuff like that. I really hope this guide helps you to find your roommate, and these are tips that can help you find a great roommate that will become your best friend. But honestly, that's not always the case, and you don't have to get along with your roommate amazingly. As long as you're respectful of each other's boundaries, you should be able to get through anything. At the end of the day, you're just there living together and living your own college life. I hope this advice helps you out, and let me know if there's anything I missed or anything else you want me to cover. Otherwise, get on Instagram, get on Facebook, get in those people's DMs, and good luck with your search. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bye!